Hey, Sean.
What's up, Rebecca?
It's research launch day on Patreon.
Yes, we are so excited to see this finally come to life after many, many, many moons of prep and planning and research and development.
And talking about it. And we realized like we should do something so you guys can really see what it is we're talking about and if it's valuable to you and your business. We think it will be.
Absolutely. 100%. So this is like a quick mini-sode walking you through what the first download is, how to use it, and we're also going to upload a video of this mini-sode in the Patreon that will also have a quick video walkthrough of us navigating the download itself. So you can see that at patreon.com/HYDC.
And you can also see our beautiful faces as we talk in real life.
Yes.
Okay, so what exactly is this download?
We took what used to be the like good, better, best calculator that we've talked about many times on the show and evolved it into its next lifespan in a living calculating document that's in Google Sheets.
So you, as the hottie who's downloading it, you can copy and customize it with your own information. So you're not like sharing a Hot Young Designers Club logo with your own clients. And there's going to be instructions that we'll show you that we wrote in there, but you can update that really easily. It's just like any other document. And we also have noted that you definitely make sure you update the tax. In my area, I have to update the tax for every single client because there's like 4 different ones.
Yeah.
Sales tax, I should say.
And you can make other revisions to the document, but we just want to say the formulas have all been built. There's everything under the hood in Google Sheets. Some of it does get a little complex. So if you are not a Google Sheets master level user, yes, I would definitely save it for the professionals to make changes, but it will not be sending it back to Rebecca and I to make changes to the document. So
yeah,
user beware.
You can kind of mess it up, but you're working off a copy. You just know that. So you can always start over if you get into something kind of weird. But yeah, there's like macro scripts and weird stuff in there. Like I consider myself kind of a heavy user and I know how to use formulas.
And we still got help to do this.
Yeah, no, it's more than that. So it's pretty cool. So
if we do say so ourselves.
And we really actually use it in our business. So we're going to talk about some situations lately that came up.
Yeah. The one I shared with you where you were like, we have to tell people about this. It was one of those scenarios where client bought a vacation home locally near the beach. Their main house is in the Midwest. And it was an expensive house, so they have a lot they want to do, but yeah, now having 2 households is always a big step for a lot of clients. And so the conversations were at the consult going of like, well, we want to do all this, but, I don't know if we're going to get everything in for, the main priority spaces are living rooms and dining rooms and those kinds of spaces and the primary bedroom. And with that client, I even said, there's a lot of priorities in this house. And I think you're going to need to like narrow down what you want to do, because we could easily spend some of that budget you need for priority pieces on things that are less important, So at the consult, I told her that I'm going to send you this guide and you're going to fill it out so we can establish what your project's budget is. And this will give you a chance to go through, click through, identify what you want to spend, how it adds up. And what helped in this case is this client self-identified after going through the guide that they weren't ready to commit to a full designer level project budget wise, that they just weren't in the place based on the quality of the finishings that they wanted to keep spending more.
So they were just gonna do their own thing and figure it out with
They've got a couple key pieces that were
Ziegler.
in. Yeah, they've got some pieces in the house that they bought from the stager. So they're not just like sitting on the floor, but none of it is like necessarily their style. And it's just like a generic bed frame that's inexpensive. But instead of them replacing these things with kind of other inexpensive furnishings, they really do want to have nice things. So they're going to just sort of wait until their budget allows them to be in a space where they can bring everything up to the level they want, which for me as a designer is, yeah, I don't want to fight over the tiniest budget and we're like cannibalizing other rooms in order to get enough funds together for a very sparsely finished space. And so for me, that was helpful that I didn't go through all the energy and effort of putting together a whole contract with a proposal. And then I'm just like, what I'm making this document, I'm just sort of like making up the number that we're setting aside for their budget and for their minimum purchasing agreement with me.
Yeah, it really has helped me get on the same page with clients with actual numbers of what things actually cost or what I think things actually need to cost for me to get involved, which
yes,
it's basically what you're saying too. So I've mentioned in a couple recent episodes, I've started putting minimum product expenditures in place. I know you're already doing that as well.
yes.
So I definitely will do what you did in situations where I feel like the client's not getting what things really cost or should cost. But like recently, I had this actually happened a couple of times where the clients gave me pretty realistic budgets that seemed like, okay, I can definitely do something with that. And so I just started writing the proposal. And I used that budget as part of my internal process or the calculator. So when I'm creating what I want the minimum expenditure to be, I just went through, I made a copy for that client, not sharing it with them at this point, and just clickety clack. Okay, that's adding up to $50,000. I'm going to give them a minimum spend with me of 30, let's say. So there's some wiggle room. They'll probably spend more than 30. But sometimes they want to shop on their own for certain pieces, vintage, whatever. Like I like to give them little wiggle room for that. But the base number I'm still going to be happy with. So I had this recent client. So I gave her the proposal. She then questioned that number because she wasn't just used to seeing prices like this. And that keeps happening because people don't really realize what things actually cost today in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think people really get sticker shocked from that bottom number when they don't know all the numbers that it added from.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
all the little pieces really add up fast.
So what I did for her, which I could have done this in the reverse order, but I then said, actually, sure, I'll share my version for you. See how I did it. I just made it a PDF, but I'm going to give you a live document so you can do it too. So you can just make sure that I'm not just, I don't know, inflating the costs.
Yeah, we're not trying to take advantage of anybody here.
No, for all the things she already told me she wanted. And so she did it and she signed it. She signed the proposal. So I think she even said, I'm just not used to buying everything at once, which I think is a lot of the time for people when they're coming into like this time of their lives and they're ready to just get rid of all the college early marriage stuff. But yeah, like it all adds up very easily and quickly. So it totally worked.
Yeah, I think the goal here is that it makes, like in your case, we've already ripped that Band-Aid off and had this big discussion about what all of this is going to cost. And you've already, like the client has sort of already gotten on board with the idea of, well, this is just what we're going to spend now. And then the design process is so much easier when it's like, well, you already told me you were okay spending this on a sofa, and I'm like right at that number for you.
And they have the money. Like in this case, the client had the money that they needed, that we both needed them to spend.
Right.
So she just needs to make sure that I'm gonna respectfully allocate it, basically.
Absolutely.
So that's this calculator 100% did that.
Yeah. Makes the whole conversation that much faster and easier. It gets us on the same page and with our clients of where they want to be. I'm stoked to make sure that other designers have just as much confidence going into this, and it makes it faster to
It's
identify
so
appropriate
fast. Like
budgets.
that's I was just thinking, like it also is so fast. You just click, 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 click. Like I didn't have to create anything for her to like type out all the different items that I
Yeah.
was thinking.
And when
Uh,
someone asks, you can go, great, let me send you the link to this. Go ahead and fill this out for me. And then let's keep talking. Like it can be that easy.
So we're gonna show a video share screen of what it actually looks like, because I know that's always a feels like kind of a risk when you're buying something and you don't actually know what you're getting. So
Yeah.
if you want to jump over on patreon.com/HYDC, you can fast forward to the part where you see Sean sits share screen if you already listened to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the cool part about this is once you get the download from the Patreon, or you also can download it directly from our website's resource page. So that's at hotyoungdesignersclub.com/resources. What's great there is that we provide you the whole instructions sheet with the document. So that way you can see the steps and tips on what to do. So this is where we're talking to you about where to save it in your Google Drive. So that way you can make a copy of it. And then if you do run into technical issues, there is a way that you can report them to us, but we've definitely beta tested this to the extreme. And then we want you to customize it with your own information. So put your colors, your fonts, your brand standards, if you want to update the instructions that are in it. So that way it fits more with how you describe your design process with clients, you can update that, the formulas. But the thing we really don't want to change is really around the calculations that are already included for freight, shipping, receiving, and delivery. We built that off of a predetermined rate, which of course our market keeps changing and that could change. But this at least lets you get the biggest part of the discussion started with your clients, and a couple resources of places you could take it to with freelancers if you want to go even further with this document. Once you open the document, though, that's when it takes you into the Google Sheet itself. And this is where all the meat and potatoes are. We really built it off of the assumption that we don't want clients to be using retail sources. So it's designed to show them like we aren't going to be helping you with retail purchases. And so if you find that the majority of what you want to buy and that you're comfortable spending as a client is falling in that retail category, maybe designers who are doing this are looking more at e-design. Or the client's going to handle all the purchasing and you're just going to source from retail. But for us, the profitability just isn't there until we start moving into entry-level designer pricing, moderate, and then heirloom. And we acknowledge all of these are subjective. So what you consider entry-level for a client you work with could end up being much higher than this. And so, that's where it continues to be a document that in the future, you might need to keep building off of this as you move forward.
Could you change those numbers?
I wouldn't, because they can start changing the formula.
So if you change that,
you can make edits to some of them. The challenging ones are going to come in where if you start saying that your really highest investment level in the heirloom quality changes, you can start to see some edits on that don't translate all the way down the document. Okay. But what's cool is like clients can click through different entry level documents, moderate, if they want heirloom quality, and then you can see that the totals keep adding up as they go. So they can really pick where something makes the most sense for them to spend money and what they value the most.
And skip the items they don't need.
Yeah, and then it helps if they do a whole room, because then, yeah, sure, they're inevitably someone will go, oh, well, I don't need two accent tables. My room is so small. And it's like, I always find that even if it's not two tables, we end up, instead of just having one room of window treatments, it's two. So that money's going to come back into the budget somewhere, but it does let the client see the subtotal and then the total with their shipping, receiving, and white glove delivery estimate. And then let's just say they're only doing that living room. They can go down to the bottom of the document and see how all of that really breaks down, what their sales tax rate is going to be, and then their grand total for that room. So, I
So if you
mean,
just
that is
type
like
over,
seconds.
if you just type over the 8.75, it'll
Yeah, you could
update
move
the
it to the Long
calculation.
Beach tax rate even at 10 and a quarter, and then it bumps up the number all the way from there. So yeah, that's a big eat for Southern Californians, depending on their county. Um, but this is, I mean, it's done. Like, it's just a couple quick seconds to change it. And if they don't like where that all-in number is, clients can just go back up to the top, and maybe they're going to have to move down from some of the heirloom quality, and bring their budget down a little bit on different categories. That's really, we want that to be up to them, and we want them to feel good about the final total that they get to.
It only lets, and that's cool, it only lets you click one line
Yeah,
item.
no duplicates, so they can't just start picking all over the place. And what we talk about in the instructions is that we want this to be something where clients can feel comfortable giving us a range. So if they filled out this living room and they got a grand total of, 40,880, they can say, I'm comfortable around 35 to 45. And if we did end up at 40, that'd still be okay. We're comfortable with that. But I I just think when it's never going to go down, I would rather have a client tell me, if we land between 40 and 47,000, I feel okay with that, and that's a good place to start.
And let's be real, like for a client to work with a designer, it just makes sense for there to be some buffer. Like if they're so tight on
On
funds
one
that
number, yeah.
$500 is going to really break the budget, then this
What are
might
we
not be the
doing?
best use of their money.
Agreed.
Not to be snotty, but it's just, there needs to be some wiggle room.
Right. We all want clients to be realistic, and this really helps them do it in a really efficient way. We don't have every room in here, so we've covered the big heavy hitter rooms to establish budgets. And then for many of these, you'll be able to then continue the conversation with these tiers and applying them to each specific room you're working with.
Cool.
So yeah, that's the doc.
Get it.
That's
Okay.
our hottest download for June. That's the first Hot Young Designers Club digital resource.
So reach out with any questions or limited issues. I'm just kidding. We are definitely here to help. We just can't teach anyone how to
Yeah, if
hack
all
a
the
file.
if all the thousands of hotties start coming at us about how do I use Google Sheets, I will not be able to help with that. So remember, it's many of you we already know are very tenacious. You have your figure it out Google pants on, so you know how to get to stuff and how to make it work for you. But we've really tried to make this fast and easy because we also designed it to be client facing. So it's not meant to be hard to use. It's meant to be really
Simple.
really simple. We think you guys are really going to love it, and we want to hear how much you're enjoying incorporating it into your design processes.
Okay, so go get it, patreon.com/HYDC, or you could go straight to our website, to our resources page, and you could buy it a la carte.
You got it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Stay hot, designers.
Oh, we got a video. It's weird to. Bye. Stay hot, designers.
Bye.